What if I told you the Millionaire crops aren't the ones plastered on every billboard next to a grain elevator? Not corn, not soy, not wheat. I'm talking about plants that can sell for 20, 40, even $80 a pound. Plants most growers have never even heard of, while chefs, supplement companies, and hardcore health food people are basically standing there waving cash like, "Please, do you have any more?" And if that sounds a little dramatic, good, because the whole point is to shake you out of the commodity crop trance and into the weight. Why am I fighting for pennies when someone else is casually selling leaves for luxury prices? Mindset. So if you like this kind of practical, slightly rebellious deep dive into forgotten plants and under-the-radar money moves, do me a favor, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell right now, because it tells the algorithm you want more of this and it keeps you plugged into the weekly uploads. Now, before we go any further, I'm going to say something that might sting a little. Most people don't fail in farming because they're lazy or dumb or not cut out for it. They fail because they're playing the same game as everyone else. Same crops, same markets, same middlemen, same pray the price doesn't tank stress cycle. Commodity farming is like showing up to a gold rush and deciding you're going to make your fortune selling gravel. Meanwhile, the smart weirdos, the ones everyone kind of laughs at until it's too late, are out here supplying niche markets where the buyers actually care about quality, story, freshness, and consistency. And those buyers? They pay like it matters. That's the secret sauce here. It's not just grow an unusual plant. It's grow an unusual plant that already has demand, has limited supply, and fits into a market that rewards small-scale producers. That's how you stop trying to outmuscle industrial agriculture and start out thinking it. You don't need hundreds of acres. You don't need $1 million tractor. You need strategy, a little nerve, and a willingness to be the person growing the thing everyone else dismissed as a weed, a pond nuisance, or some herbal nonsense. And yes, quick reality check, if you're selling anything for food, supplements, or cosmetics, you've got to pay attention to local regs, labeling rules, and food safety. Don't do the sketchy back alley apothecary routine. Do it clean, do it legit. That's how you keep the money and avoid the headaches. All right, let's get into the countdown energy, ranked from, oh, that's interesting, to, okay, why isn't everyone doing this? First up, moringa, the so-called miracle tree. And honestly, it kind of earns the nickname. Moringa is one of those plants that makes you question everything because it grows fast. It's ridiculously useful, and once people discover it, they start demanding it like it's the missing ingredient to modern life. Dried moringa leaves can sell in that premium range, and the bigger point is that the market momentum is real. Smoothie shops, capsule companies, tea blends, wellness brands, health stores, everybody wants moringa, and a lot of it is still imported. That's the window. When a market relies on imports, it means local growers can slide in with freshness, reliability, better story, and often better quality control. And moringa isn't a one-and-done crop either. It's a renewable harvest. You establish it, you cut leaves multiple times, you dry properly, and you've basically got a green money machine that keeps spitting out product. Also, can we talk about how hilarious it is that some people will spend their entire year grinding for a crop that sells for pocket change per pound, while moringa people are over here like, yeah, I harvested leaves again. Anyway, that's the vibe shift. High demand, low supply, premium pricing, and a plant that doesn't act like it needs a personal assistant to survive. Now number 2 is where things get spicy. Duckweed. Yes, duckweed. The stuff that makes ponds look like someone spilled pea soup. The stuff people call pond scum while they're actively trying to kill it. This is one of my favorite examples of how humans are terrible at recognizing value. Duckweed, especially the tiny fast-growing types like Wolffia and Lemna, can explode in biomass under the right conditions. And here's the punchline, it can be incredibly high in protein by dry weight, which is why it's been studied for all kinds of uses, including, yes, space-related food concepts. Think about that for a second. Something people treat like a nuisance has been looked at as a serious nutrition option. That's not just funny, it's a flashing neon sign that says, There's money hiding in the stuff nobody respects. And the business angle is kind of disgusting in the best way. You don't need big land. You need controlled water, ponds, tanks, a system you can manage, and then you're harvesting something that regrows like it's trying to win a race. Markets can include animal feed niches, aquaculture, specialty protein powders, and experimental health food circles. Is it glamorous? No. Does it print potential? Yes. The only reason it's undervalued is because it looks like something you'd skim off a stagnant ditch. And if you can get past that mental block, you're already ahead of most people. Number 3, lovage. This is the chef's secret ingredient energy. Lovage is what happens when celery and parsley get together and decide to become a more intense, more complex version of themselves. Chefs love ingredients like this because it gives them leverage. It's not just flavor, it's uniqueness. If a restaurant can put something on a plate that most people can't get at the grocery store, it becomes part of the story. And story sells. Lovage is also perennial, which means you're not replanting like a maniac every season. You establish it, you manage it, and you harvest repeatedly. Here's the thing about chef markets. They want consistency and freshness. If you become the local person who can reliably bring them beautiful aromatic bunches of something rare, you stop being a grower and you become their grower. That relationship is worth more than any one harvest. And lovage sits right in that sweet spot of rare enough to be exciting, common enough to grow without losing your mind. Number 4, culantro. And yes, I can already hear someone typing, "You mean cilantro?" No. Culantro is not cilantro. Culantro is the stronger, more intense cousin that shows up in Latin American and Southeast Asian cooking and basically refuses to be replaced. It's the backbone of certain dishes, and people who know it can taste immediately when it's missing. That's what you want in a specialty crop, a plant with a built-in audience that doesn't treat it like an optional garnish. The demand exists, but supply in mainstream channels is limited, which is why people end up hunting for it in specific markets. And this is where the niche word gets misunderstood. Niche doesn't mean small money. Niche means targeted demand. If you have a community that actually wants the thing, restaurants, home cooks, cultural markets, and they can't get it easily, you have leverage. Culantro is a perfect example of not mass appeal, but passionate appeal. And passionate buyers are the ones who pay. Number 5, shiso. This one's having a moment, and if you've ever eaten at a Japanese or Korean spot that does things right, you've seen it. Shiso has that unique flavor, minty, basilish, and somehow its own category. It makes food taste expensive, and food trends matter here. Global cuisine isn't niche anymore, it's mainstream. More people are learning to cook beyond the basic rotation. More restaurants are leaning into authenticity, and that creates demand for herbs that aren't part of the old-school Western grower playbook. Shiso is also one of those crops where presentation matters. If you can supply crisp, beautiful leaves locally, you're immediately more attractive than whatever wilted imported option shows up after a long supply chain journey. Freshness is value. Local is value. Consistency is value. If you've got a greenhouse or a good warm season setup, shiso can be a real moneymaker, and it's only getting more popular. Number 6, epazote. This herb is like that one friend who's loud, polarizing, and absolutely essential to the group dynamic. Epazote is pungent, distinctive, and completely tied to traditional Mexican cooking, especially beans and certain soups. And here's the key. Fresh epazote is a different game than dried. That gap creates opportunity because dried versions don't hit the same. People who want the real flavor want the real herb. And Mexican cuisine isn't some tiny corner market. It's one of the most popular food categories across huge parts of the world. So you've got a big audience, but a fresh supply problem in many places. That's the pattern you want to train your brain to spot. Popular cuisine plus missing ingredient plus limited local supply. That's a business, not a hobby. A business. Number 7. Purslane, the weed worth more than spinach. I love this one because it's a perfect metaphor for the entire list. Purslane grows like it owns the place. People yank it out, toss it, complain about it, and then, plot twist, upscale restaurants and health-focused folks are out here paying for it because it's nutrient-dense and has that crisp, slightly lemony bite. It's the kind of green that makes a dish look intentional. And nutritionally, it gets hyped because it contains omega-3s compared to many leafy greens, which gives wellness people a reason to talk about it like it's magical. But the real magic is the economics. If something is easy to grow, fast to grow, and doesn't need you to baby it, your cost goes down. If the selling price stays premium because the market sees it as specialty, your margin goes up. That's the whole game right there. Low pain, high gain. Also, it's just satisfying to imagine turning garden nuisance into dinner plate delicacy. That's poetic. Number 8. Yaupon holly. This is the America forgot it had caffeine plant, and the story alone sells it. Yaupon is a native caffeinated leaf source, and it's positioned perfectly for the tea alternative crowd, the people who want something local, sustainable, and different from the usual imported tea storyline. The marketing writes itself. Native plant, heritage drink, smooth caffeine, no coffee jitters narrative, and you can build an entire brand vibe around it. What makes yaupon especially interesting is that it's a perennial shrub. You're not stuck in an annual replanting treadmill. You're managing a stand, harvesting leaves, drying properly, and selling into a market that loves craft and local. And the irony? It got culturally sidelined for historical reasons and misunderstandings, which means modern growers can step in and revive it without competing against massive established domestic production. Early mover advantage is real here. Number 9. Mexican tarragon. If you've ever tried growing French tarragon and watched it act like a diva, refusing to thrive unless conditions are exactly perfect, Mexican tarragon is the friend who shows up, does the job, and doesn't complain. It gives a similar anise-like flavor profile, thrives in heat, and opens tarragon-like culinary options to climates where French tarragon just sulks. This one is a practical specialty crop because it's solving a problem. It's not just rare for rare's sake. It's, I can grow what you want, where the usual version won't cooperate. Problem-solving crops sell, especially when chefs discover they can get a reliable local supply. Number 10. Lemon balm. If there's one market that's not going anywhere, it's stress. Modern life basically runs on stress and coping mechanisms. Lemon balm sits right in the wellness lane as a gentle, lemony herb used in teas, tinctures, blends, and calming routines. And because it's easy to grow, sometimes aggressively easy, the production side is friendly. Harvest multiple times, dry it correctly, and you've got a steady product for a huge audience. Also, let's be honest, people love soft solutions. A tea ritual feels nice. A calming herb feels accessible. It's not a prescription, it's not intimidating, it's, I'm doing something good for myself. That's what sells. If you can supply clean, vibrant lemon balm that smells like it was harvested yesterday, you're miles ahead of stale store-bought dust. Number 11. Ashwagandha. This is the supplement industry's darling, and it's one of those plants where demand has absolutely sprinted ahead of domestic production in many places. Ashwagandha is tied to the adaptogen wave, stress, resilience, energy, overall wellness vibes, and supplement brands love it because consumers recognize the name now. Name recognition is huge. It means you don't have to educate as hard to sell. The opportunity here is quality and sourcing. A lot of ashwagandha is imported, and imported supply chains can mean variability. If you can produce clean, consistent, well-dried root, that's valuable. But I'll say it clearly, if you're selling into supplement channels, you need to be serious. Quality control, testing, handling, storage, do it right. The money is there, but the standards need to be there too. Number 12. Hyssop. This one has that old-world, historical, almost mythical aura. Hyssop shows up in traditional herbal tea culture and essential oil circles, and it's the kind of plant craft tea companies love because it comes with a built-in story. And in the craft world, story is currency. People don't just buy flavor, they buy identity. They buy tradition. They buy, I'm the type of person who drinks small batch herbal blends with ancient roots. That's not an insult, that's literally how marketing works. Hyssop is also perennial and hardy, which means you can build a reliable production patch. You're harvesting flowering tops, drying carefully, and selling into tea makers and herbal product creators who want unique aromatics. It's not a sell to everyone crop, it's a sell to the right people crop. Big difference. Number 13, Tulsi, also known as holy basil. This is another adaptogen world superstar, and it bridges traditional significance with modern wellness culture in a way that's honestly impressive. Tulsi tea is already a thing people actively seek out, and supplement companies use it too. Again, name recognition. Again, demand that keeps growing. Tulsi is also fun because it's aromatic and pleasant to grow. It's not a miserable crop. You can harvest multiple times, dry it, and sell the leaves into tea and wellness channels. And if you've got a greenhouse or warm season conditions, it fits neatly into diversified herb production. It's one of those, why not have it, crops if you're already geared toward drying and packaging botanicals. Number 14, catnip. And please don't roll your eyes. Not just for cats sounds like a joke until you remember the pet industry is basically a money vacuum that sucks in cash from people who love their animals like family. Premium pet products are booming, and quality catnip matters more than people think. There's the cheap, dusty stuff, and then there's fresh, fragrant, organic catnip that makes cats lose their minds in a much more enthusiastic way. People pay for that, especially boutique pet shops and direct-to-consumer sellers who can brand it as the good stuff. Catnip is also an easy grower, vigorous, reliable. If you're smart about drying, storage, and packaging, you can create a premium product without reinventing agriculture. This is one of those crops that reminds you, you don't always need humans to be the end customer. Sometimes the customer is a fluffy little chaos gremlin, and the person paying is a devoted cat parent with a credit card. Number 15, calendula, the skincare flower that looks cute in a garden and serious in a supply chain. Calendula shows up in creams, salves, soaps, oils, anything in the natural skincare lane. And the clean beauty movement has made botanical ingredients feel premium. Calendula has that gentle, soothing, traditional, but also modern reputation, and that makes it a workhorse ingredient for makers at every level, from small crafters to bigger brands. The business angle is flexibility. You can sell dried flowers wholesale. You can sell retail to crafters. Or you can go full value added and make your own infused oils, salves, soaps, if that's your thing. But even without going full apothecary, just producing high-quality dried calendula with good color retention and clean handling can open doors. Flowers aren't traditional crops, sure, but neither is profit apparently, because traditional thinking is what keeps people stuck. Number 16, fenugreek. This is the dual-threat crop, culinary and supplement markets. Fenugreek seeds are essential in various cuisines, spice blends, and traditional recipes, and they also show up in wellness products for different uses. Dual market crops give you resilience. If one channel slows down, the other can keep moving. And since the crop is seeds, it stores and ships well, which makes logistics easier than delicate fresh herbs. Also, spice markets love consistency. If you can offer a fresh, clean, well-dried product with good aroma and reliable supply, you become attractive to small spice companies and specialty food makers. You're not just selling a seed, you're selling trust. Number 17, stevia. Natural sweeteners are not a fad. People are trying to reduce sugar, avoid artificial sweeteners, manage calories, and feel like they're making better choices. Stevia sits right in that lane. The processed stevia industry is competitive, sure, but there's a different niche. Dried stevia leaves for teas, home use, small batch herbal blends, and direct-to-consumer markets where people want simple, recognizable, minimally processed products. Stevia is also a great example of not overcomplicating your entry. You don't have to build a processing factory to start. You can grow, harvest, dry, and sell leaves into markets that want leaves. Sometimes the simplest version of a crop is the best on-ramp. Number 18. Sichuan pepper. Now we're in the exotic spice worth more than gold territory. Sichuan pepper isn't just a flavor, it's an experience. That numbing, tingling sensation is iconic, and as more people chase authentic regional cuisines at home and in restaurants, demand grows. Supply, especially local, fresh, high-quality supply, doesn't always keep up, which is exactly where premium pricing happens. This is one of those crops where you need to know what you're doing with harvesting and handling, but that's true of any high-value specialty. The payoff is that you're supplying something irreplaceable. Irreplaceable means pricing power, and pricing power is the difference between I hope I break even and I can scale this. Number 19. Go-to cola. This one sits at the intersection of cognitive support trends and skincare trends, which is basically a bullseye in the modern market. People want brain health support, focus, memory, nootropic vibes, and they also want anti-aging, soothing, collagen-friendly skincare narratives. Go-to cola has a long history in traditional systems, and modern product ecosystems love anything that can wear both hats: supplement ingredient and cosmetic ingredient. From a grower's perspective, it's a perennial in the right conditions and can be harvested multiple times. From a business perspective, it's a two-doors-open crop. You can sell to herbal companies, wellness brands, skincare makers, and even DIY creators. Again, dual markets, premium positioning, low mainstream competition. That's the recipe. And now, because the original promise was 20, we're not going to leave the list limping at 19 like a table missing a leg. Here's your number 20 bonus, the one that makes people's eyebrows jump: saffron. Yeah, the red gold. Saffron is famously high value because it's labor-intensive and delicate, but that's exactly why it can be lucrative for the right grower. It's not a broad-acre crop. It's a careful, high-attention specialty crop that fits small-scale operations willing to do precise harvesting and meticulous drying. And if you've ever wanted a crop that feels like you're producing literal treasure, saffron scratches that itch. It's also the kind of product that sells beautifully direct-to-consumer because people understand it instantly. They've seen the price. They've heard the legend. It doesn't need a 30-minute explanation. Now, let's zoom out, because if you only take one thing from this entire rant, it should be this: the path to wealth through growing isn't about doing what everyone else is doing, but slightly better. That's the trap. That's the work harder and hope strategy. The real move is to choose markets where small growers have an advantage, markets that reward quality, markets that care about freshness, markets where the buyers are actively looking for suppliers and can't just call a commodity broker and get a truckload delivered tomorrow. That's why these plants matter. They aren't magic, they're just overlooked. They don't fit the industrial model because industrial agriculture needs uniformity, massive scale, and easy mechanization. Specialty crops don't always want that. Specialty crops want knowledge, timing, handling, and relationships. And those are things a small grower can absolutely dominate. So here's where it gets interesting, because I can already hear the skeptical voice in the back going, okay, but how do I actually make money with this and not just grow a bunch of fancy herbs that rot in my shed? Fair question. The answer is, you pick one lane, then build it like a real business. If you want the chef lane, you focus on freshness, delivery schedules, consistent quality, and a small menu of herbs that restaurants actually use. You don't show up with a random bag of weird leaves and hope they're impressed. You show up with samples, pricing, reliability, and an understanding of what their kitchen needs. Chefs don't just buy flavor, they buy predictability. If you want the wellness lane, you focus on drying standards, cleanliness, storage, packaging, and transparency. The wellness market is huge, but it's also sensitive. People care about contaminants, sourcing, and trust. You become the grower who does it right. That's how you earn repeat buyers. If you want the skincare lane, you focus on color retention, proper drying, gentle handling, and consistent supply. Makers don't want brown, dusty petals that look like they were dragged behind a truck. They want vibrant, clean botanicals that make their products look and feel premium. And if you want the "I'm building a brand" lane, you combine production with storytelling. Because the truth is, the plant is only half the product. The other half is the narrative. Why this plant? Why it matters? How it's grown? What makes it special? What it connects to culturally, historically, or nutritionally. Humans buy meaning. Always have. Now I want to pull you into the conversation because this is where the fun happens. Which lane are you? Are you team culinary, selling to chefs and specialty food people? Are you team wellness, teas, tinctures, dried herbs, adaptogen culture? Are you team skincare, flowers, infused oils, botanical ingredients? Or are you the chaos genius who wants to do the pond scum duckweed protein empire and laugh while everyone else is still arguing about corn prices? Drop a comment and tell me which plant you'd actually grow if you had to pick just one to start. Not 10, not eventually. 1. Because picking one forces clarity. It forces you to think, do I have the climate, the setup, the market nearby, the ability to process and sell? That comment section becomes a brainstorm board for the whole community, and I read them because half the time you people come up with ideas that are even more unhinged, in a good way, than mine. And listen, I'm not saying commodity crops are evil or that nobody should grow them. I'm saying most small growers are getting crushed because they're competing in a system designed for giants. Specialty crops are one of the few ways to step sideways out of that cage match. It's not about becoming a billionaire overnight. It's about building a farm or homestead that actually pays you back for your effort, instead of constantly asking for more sacrifice. You don't need permission to think differently. You don't need a degree to plant something unusual. You need the willingness to be early. Because that's the other truth nobody likes to admit. By the time everyone agrees something is a great opportunity, the margins usually shrink. The early movers get the best prices, the strongest relationships, the cleanest market position, and the best brand recognition. The late movers get the scraps and the saturation. So if you're sitting there right now thinking, okay, I kind of want to try this, don't do the thing where you hype yourself up for 3 weeks, watch 20 more videos, then never plant anything. Pick one plant, pick one market, start small, do a test run, learn your harvest timing, learn your drying, learn your packaging, learn your buyers, then scale what works. That's the boring, real-world path to, wow, this is actually making money. And one more thing, because I want you to win, not just feel inspired for 10 minutes. Don't fall in love with the plant. Fall in love with the market. The plant is your tool. The market is your paycheck. If you can grow the most gorgeous shiso on earth but you don't have a buyer, you have a salad. If you can grow decent shiso and you have 3 restaurants texting you every week asking, can you bring more? You have a business. So yeah, maybe the millionaire crops aren't the ones your neighbor plants every year because that's what we do around here. Maybe they're the ones people forgot, dismissed, or never learned about. Maybe it's the miracle tree, maybe it's the chef herb, maybe it's the weed, maybe it's the pond scum, and maybe your financial independence starts the moment you stop copying the crowd and start supplying what the crowd can't get. If you want more deep dives like this, more forgotten plants, more underrated crops, more why isn't anyone talking about this? Opportunities, make sure you're subscribed and share this with someone who's stuck in the commodity grind and needs a mental jailbreak. And seriously, comment your pick. Team herbs, team adaptogens, team exotic spices, team flowers, team duckweed. Whatever you are, say it with your chest. Let's see who's brave enough to grow the weird stuff that pays.